Alright, so I finished up the controllers for those two sets of morphs. The next thing I want to do is maybe add some eyes to this guy, just because it'll be fun to do. And it'll bring a little bit of character to it. So I will go in and just make some really simple eyes. I'll use a sphere. I'll go in the front window here, and I'll drag out a sphere. Okay, don't know where I want to put it yet. I could always put it off to the side, put it on the front, put it up on top. Doesn't really matter. But it will affect the character and how it looks. So depending on where you put these things, even if I kind of play around with it from the side, right? It's trying to figure out a decent look for it, something that's kind of appealing. I could maybe change the size of this eye and have it look a little bit different as well. Personally, I like the medium or the kind of the medium to large eyes. I'm going to keep it maybe closer to the top. Pull it outwards. Okay. For an eyelid, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm just going to reuse this one. I'll hit Control V. I'll make a new one. Make sure it's a copy, and I want to push it out a little bit. So I'll use the radius, and I'll increase the radius, and then I'll use Slice On. And I'm going to slice this for my eyelid. Okay. Rotate this around, and suddenly I have an eyelid. Okay, it's kind of a weird looking eyelid, but it'll work for what we need it for. And it's kind of an easy way to do it, because the nice thing about this eyelid is that we can use the slice from and to as slaves for a master, which would be the blink master. Blink master is kind of a I just like that word. I'm the blink master. So lowering the eyelid. Just trying to figure out where and how this would blink. The bottom eyelid, by the way, doesn't really blink a whole lot when we move our heads around, or our eyes around. So I would say maybe 5% movement, if any. Most of a blink comes from the upper lid on an average type of person. This obviously is an average person, so we can really do whatever we want with this. So I think this is going to be fine for now. Okay. The eye, I'm going to just change up the color of the eye a little bit here. I'm going to use a multi-sub object. And delete some of these colors. Okay. One of these colors I'm going to make white. One of them I will make maybe a green color, I guess. Really do whatever you want with this. And then I'll make a black color. Each of these has a material ID. I'm going to go into the sphere. I can do this either a couple ways. I can either collapse this into an editable poly, or I can put an edit poly modifier on it. You know what, just for now, I'm just going to throw an edit poly on it. And I'll select all the polygons and give them all a material ID of 1 to start. Okay, and I'll just apply this material. So there we go, we have the white. I'll go in and select, if I can select this here. There we go. And I'll grow this out a little bit. And I'll make this material ID 2. So now that's green. And I will shrink my selection. And I'll make that 3 for black. Now, to me that's a little bit large for the pupil. I'm going to drop that down a little bit. And use that one. So something like that I kind of like. Okay. And I might, while I'm at this, I might as well just take another material for the other bits here. It could be any color, again, any color I want. let's say I go with an orange color, like that. Cool. I'm going to take this eye, I'm going to put my pivot point at the origin, and I'm going to mirror this. There's my eyes. Got a little bit of character already. Now, just for fun, what I can do is move these around a little bit. See if I like it better down there, if I like it better up on top, if I like it better smaller eyes. Okay, let me just change that to view. There we go. Smaller out in front. I don't know. I mean, it's really up to you as to how you want to move these around. Actually, I don't mind that. I usually make the larger eyes, so maybe for something different I'll make these smaller ones. I think maybe the one thing I'm not crazy about is the thickness of the iris. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I am going to just change these. So I like that. I like that a little bit better. So I'm going to do that on the other side as well. And this is a really, really cheap way to make eyes. So, you know, this is about as easy as it gets. It's not the best way either, but it's just a way to make eyes and have them look kind of like eyes. As we know, eyes aren't actual spheres. They have the lens and everything else in the front. So close enough. Okay, close enough for our reasons. Now, what do we do with this? How can we control these? Well, I'm going to use a look at controller for this. I'm going to be smart about this and use a helper. So this helper will go into place where the eye is currently. I'm going to align it. Okay, I'm even going to get the axis line, everything else. I'm going to make another one of these, and I'll align it with that eye. Okay, now the reason I do this, it's a pretty important reason. When you're working and you have your art director come to you and say, I need you to change those eyes, they're god-awful terrible. And you say, well, I've got the eyes rigged up, and I didn't use a helper or I didn't use any type of controller, so if I change them, I lose all my animation. He'll say, oh well, change it. So the easier way is simply to have it rigged up to start with. So get a controller in place, link your eyes, these eye spheres, to that controller. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're just going to link that to this, link that to this one, so that I can rotate the eye with this helper, with this dummy. And if I ever needed to change these eyes, I could really just delete the eye, replace it, and link it to this, and we're still good to go. So not a lot of work lost that way. So it's a good thing to consider doing. And then you would link these to a head bone and whatever else. We're not going to bother with that right now. So next, how do we get the eyes to move? A couple different ways. We could make another controller and take the rotational values of these helpers and use those as a slave to the master of the controller. We could do that. We could maybe do an easier way too, and I think we're going to do it the easier way right now. This is just for fun, right? We're just getting this out to try it out. I want to get another helper. In this case, maybe a point helper. And I'll make one of these, certain size, something like that. Maybe I'll add a box to it. And I want to align that to this object. Now, I can do that with another one. Oop, that's not what I want. That's what I want. And then I can drag that to here, align it to there. I need to select those helpers. And now the helpers are dead center of these eyes, I'm going to drag those out. Okay, perfect. Now, those helpers will be watching these helpers. Okay, but I don't necessarily want to grab both these at the same time, so I'm going to get one more in here. So I'm going to find, let's say, a circle. I can use a circle on this, and I'll just do something like so. And you could use any object for this. It doesn't have to be a circle. I'm going to use a circle. It's not a big deal. So this will be my, let's say, my eye control. I'm going to name this here. And this can be a look at target. So the right look at. And this can be the left look at. Oop. That does not say left look at whatsoever. Left look at. If I move this around, I want those controllers to move with it, because this can move both controllers at the same time, which would be great. Okay, so I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to link it to this helper. Or this really, it's not really a helper, but it's a kind of a helper for our purposes right now. So if I move that, those will follow it. Now, if I select these, I can have them look at these ones. So we're going to use a look at controller. So with this object selected, I'm going to go to animation, and under constraints, go to look at constraint, and then select that helper. Now you can see it went missing on us here. What it's actually done is it's kind of just changed orientation. So we need to find the proper look at axis. Okay. So on the side, we've got look at axis. We also have up node control. Make sure this is on look at, and make sure you try one of these. It's probably going to be Z. You may have to flip it or not, but just go through these and let's take a look. So if I hit X, let's kind of see what happens here with wireframe. We can see it a bit easier. I'm on X. If I hit Y, can't really see much of it. If I hit Z, it flips, right? But it doesn't look like we see it. What actually happened is that it's at the back. So I'm going to hit flip on here. Perfect. Remember, I mirrored these initially, so it might have screwed up the pivot a little bit. I'm going to do the same on this side. Oh, before I do that, let me just change look at, because if I don't do that, let's see here. Okay, so I've got this look at moving around. If I keep that on axis alignment and I move this, you can see how it spins on us. We don't want the spinning of the eye. So make sure that we have look at on here. And I'll do the same with this side. So animation, constraints, look at, and I'm going to select this guy and make sure I'm on Z, and we're good to go. So, cool thing about this is that I can move these eyes at the same time. Oh, you can notice what I forgot to do on the left-hand side. It's spinning like crazy. So let me just undo that. I'll go to look at on there, and now we're set. Okay, so I can move this around. Okay, left, right, it works pretty good, up and down. If I need to do something like cross my eyes, now I have individual targets. So great, I have that extra layer of animation that I can use. Okay. This video is just about run out of time as well, so I'm going to pause it here and I'll come back with the next one. Maybe I'll show you how to blink these by using another controller.